Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
You guys, it's breaking Gals news. We are going back on tour with live in-person shows.
Oh my God.
It's only been several years since the last time we did that.
We're a little rusty. You're not going to want to miss this.
yeah, exactly. Please don't throw tomatoes at us. We are going to Texas, y'all.
Yeehaw!
How do you like me now?
Texas tea.
What's our first stop?
Ooh, well, first we're going to be in Houston on Wednesday, June 8th at White Oak Music Hall. We have absolutely loved this venue in the past. We can't wait to go back, and the doors for that show are at 7 p.m.
Yep, Wednesday, June 8th in Houston, 2022.
Yup.
The very next day, Thursday, June 9th, we're going to be in Austin.
Hauling ass to Austin in a van.
We love Austin.
Mm-hmm.
So that show is at the Stateside at the Paramount.
Ugh, love that venue
If you
so
know,
much.
you know. It's a great venue.
And last but not least, the gals are gonna do Dallas.
Oh, we're doing Dallas.
We got a live show at the Southside Music Hall Saturday, June 11th. So
Yes.
Dallas, we love to see you. You're a great town.
Yeah, and for tickets to any of these shows, you can head to our website, wineandcrimepodcast.com. These are up, they are for sale, and we want to see you.
We
Yes.
do. And if you have very specific questions about the shows or about the venue or tickets or parking, please contact the venues directly because we
know nothing.
know nothing. We barely know what we're doing, but we will be there on time.
Woohoo! Can't wait to see you in Texas.
See you soon.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Kenyon. I remembered to say my name.
OMG.
Oh, I'm Lucy.
And I'm Amanda.
Oh my gosh, we're just on our game today.
Look at us go.
See how long it lasts.
Yeah. Probably not long.
Never lasts
No,
long.
probably not long. Also, it's thunderstorming where I am, so if you hear loud booms, just whatever, it's fine. I'll take shelter if need be. So, we have a very special gals pick this week.
Because it's all about us.
It's
Yup.
all about us.
We'll get
We're
to
the
it.
center of the universe. And that is why we selected the topic of narcissists.
Indeed, we
I
did. We may
love
learn
this.
things about ourselves today.
That we didn't, that are hard to confront.
That we've never wanted to admit to ourselves before.
You know what?
I don't think any of us are true narcissists.
Sounds like something a narcissist would say.
I think we're vain.
We probably think this song is about us.
We'll get to all of this. We can
good. There's a quiz.
self-diagose later.
Oh, good.
Great.
Okay. I'm a tier 3 necrophile. Oh, no, that was different. Okay, sorry.
Wait. Oh, my Lord.
All right, Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for narcissists?
Well, come on. We couldn't not pair our own wine with narcissist crimes.
We had to have a bottle with our faces on it.
Yeah, like, are you fucking kidding me? It would be completely stupid if we didn't. And this comes at a perfect time because we have launched our new varietals. The red is the same because it is literally perfect.
Perfection.
It is the perfect red blend. But we have a new rosé. In fact, it's so new that it has just gone to label print. So I don't even have the one with the label on it yet. I have the sample, which still says Wine and Crime on it. So it's still narcissistic. But this is a refreshed Grenache Cinsault rosé. It's 75% Grenache, 25% Cinsault, because that is math, and that is how math works.
Mm-hmm.
And it, regardless of the fact that it is 50 degrees in the Midwest, where Lucy and I are right now.
Oh, God.
It's hot as balls where I am, so
Yeah, this
pop
is
that
like,
open.
this is a literally perfect summer rosé, because you're going to get like hints of strawberry, hints of watermelon, hints of berry, but it's really nicely balanced. It's leveled out with acidity, minerality. It finishes nice and dry. It's not too sweet. This is like a perfect poolside sipper, but
it's a gorgeous color.
it's absolutely stunning. It's this beautiful pale pink. It's literally the perfect wine. And we got to warn you, there's only 100 cases of this. So you're going to want to get it while it's hot, or should I say cold, because you should not serve this hot.
And I'm pretty sure the last 2 rosés that we had sold out pretty darn quick.
Really fast. So if you want to get your hands on this, you should head to our website, wineandcrimepodcast.com. If you go under the wine tab, you can see a big feature for the Gals custom wine. They're gorgeous. They are collectible. I highly recommend.
Giftable.
They're giftable. I
Yeah.
highly recommend getting the 3-pack, because you actually save money by getting the 3-pack. It makes each bottle less expensive, and it saves you on shipping. So just get them all, because we also launched a new Sauv Blanc to like make.
Oh my God, I'm
Lucy's
so
super happy.
excited. Even
That
that's going to
one's-
be a while before I can drink it.
Right. The Sauv Blanc is also so new that it hasn't been updated on our website yet. So we will go ahead and do that. Thank you for the reminder. But this is all amazing. This is a popper. So I'm popping a Wine and Crime wine with a Wine and Crime XOXO, the Wine and Crime Gals wine key. It could not get more narcissistic than this. I also want to point out that because we were doing narcissist crimes at the last minute, I was like, shit, I got to put on a little makeup. Like, I really have to
I
go for
literally
it.
was like, I'm going to put on eyeshadow.
Yeah, I didn't do that. But I did
That's
put
how
on
you know
mascara.
I've put in some effort.
Yeah. Minimal effort.
I'm
All right.
still wearing a robe.
Well,
but-
yeah. I love that.
Can't have it all. Can't be dressed and made up.
That's too much.
I got dressed up for the metaphysical fair that I was at just an hour ago.
Lock.
And what did you get read? Didn't you get some reading done?
My
yeah, you
aura.
sent us a really weird picture without context, and I was deeply confused.
I thought you knew I was at the fair and that it
I
was
had
pretty
no
obvious
idea.
what the
Just-
photo was.
Just
But I got
Lucy
my
floating in a green cloud. Just her head.
it's yellow green, mostly
Sorry.
yellow.
Chartreuse.
Mm-hmm. My heart chakra is really powerful, apparently.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I got a whole booklet just to read through it. I'll show it to you later.
Amazing.
But
Fantastic.
yeah, I'm very yellow.
Fantastic.
I
My
feel like
aura is
having a
jaundiced.
whole booklet about your aura is also very narcissistic and on brand for this episode.
So on brand.
I feel like you were confusing narcissism with just being really into yourself.
Right.
It's
We'll
not.
get to it,
We'll
I'm
get
sure.
to it.
All right,
sure
but
will.
before we do, shall we pop?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, wow.
That's a
that was
perfect pop.
Literally
pop.
perfect. Oh,
So
honey,
crisp.
Yes.
Well,
Oh,
we should expect nothing less from our own wine.
cheers. God,
Cheers.
she's so gorgeous.
I'm
I
drinking
am
coffee.
stunning.
All right, Lucy, what is our background? And I'm guessing a lot of psych for narcissists.
Yeah, don't you shake those bones now.
Not
Don't you do
shaking.
it.
I'm not shaking shit today because it is
Good.
a lot of psych. So, narcissism, according to my lover, Encyclopedia Britannica, is the pathological self-absorption first identified as a mental disorder by the British essayist and physician Havelock Ellis in 1898.
I'm sorry, but god damn it, this rosé is good. Holy shit, we are perfect.
Incredible.
We're perfect. Yep.
Oh
And
my
no one
God.
can tell us otherwise, and don't
Like,
ever confront us about it.
Run to the internet and get this. It is so fucking good. Okay,
I need
sorry,
to order
continue.
myself a case because
For later.
I feel like all you bitches are going to buy them out and I'll not even be able to get more than one bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so narcissism is characterized by an inflated self-image and addiction to fantasy, by an unusual coolness and composure shaken only when the narcissistic confidence is threatened, and by the tendency to take others for granted and or to exploit them.
Okay.
The disorder is named for the mythological figure Narcissus, who fell in love with his own reflection.
I mean, same.
I have a picture of Narcissus on the drive.
Yeah, Yeah.
He
Look at him
thinks
gazing
he's
into
cute.
that pool.
He's in love with his reflection. Well,
That is the worst haircut I've ever seen.
I'm not going to lie.
I like it.
I love it. I am all here for this. This
It
man,
looks like he has like half payas, but the rest of his head has been shorn and or is balding.
God,
and then he
it's so
has like
good.
a very curled mullet in the
It's like
back.
a Farrah Fawcett mullet.
I
It's
think
so
it looks
good.
like when babies are like too young to get a real haircut, they just have
Yes.
really fucked up hair for like 6 months.
I love it. And then
they have like cradle cap and are balding on the back because they're always on their back. And then you have to like
Curly.
put them in little space buns or
And
they
I
look
wonder-
like this.
I wonder if this was intentional from the painter, but the reflection kind of looks like white Jesus.
Oh,
like
it
godlike.
does.
It was painted, I believe, by like Michelangelo or one of
Okay.
them.
So could be.
Yeah.
Could have been intentional. Who knows?
Yeah.
According to Sigmund Freud, narcissism is a normal stage in child development, but it is considered a disorder when it occurs after puberty.
Oops.
So, like we're talking about this horrible haircut, Narcissus, the term narcissism comes from a first century book written in the year 8
Just
AD, written in the year 8 by the Roman poet Ovid.
I like can't comprehend that.
Yeah, no.
8.
The year ocho.
Yeah, that's in the one after 7.
Yeah.
God.
Metamorphosis Book 3 tells the mythical story of a handsome young man with a horrible haircut, Narcissus, who spurns the advances of many potential lovers. When Narcissus rejects the nymph named Echo, who was cursed to only echo the sounds that others made, the gods punish Narcissus by making him fall in love with his own reflection in a pool of water. And when Narcissus discovers that the object of his love cannot love him back, he slowly pines away and dies.
Well, that's not true. What about self-love?
Well,
I love me back.
okay.
Okay.
Glennon Doyle that shit.
So at the time, the concept of excessive selfishness was just called hubris. It wasn't until the late 1800s that narcissism began to be defined in psychological terms. Since that time, the term has had a significant divergence in meaning in psychology. It has been used to describe a sexual perversion, a normal or healthy developmental stage, like Freud said,
Right, part of adolescence.
pre-puberty, yeah. And then also a symptom in psychosis.
Like kids can't help it.
No, and
Like-
they're going to be the center of their own universe. That's how
Right.
children are.
Right.
Right.
I still am like that.
Right.
All humans are to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into what a narcissist is, and
Right.
it's not just being self-obsessed.
Right.
So one prominent clinical theory of narcissism is from Austrian psychoanalyst Otto Kernberg, who posits that narcissism, quote, results from the child's reaction to coldness and lack of empathy on the parent's part, perhaps stemming from their own narcissism. According to Kernberg, the child becomes emotionally hungry and responds with rage to the parent's neglect. In this view, the narcissistic defense reflects the child's attempt to take refuge in some aspect of the self that evokes admiration in others, a defense that ultimately results in a grandiose and inflated sense of self. Narcissists, in Kernberg's view, are grandiose on the outside but vulnerable and questioning of their self-worth on the inside.
And then we'll do everything they can to like push
Protect that.
down. Yeah, and protect
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Including like a coup. With kids, I kind of see it differently as like part of their lack of like object permanence also, where it's like they are not capable of putting their perspective in
Right.
someone else's mindset and like thinking about things from that person's perspective, because in that stage of development, that
It
child
doesn't exist once it's out of their sight. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It doesn't
Totally.
exist if it's out of their sight, and the only thing that's always in their sight is their own
Like two hands.
perspective.
Right.
Themselves.
Right.
Uh-huh. So the Mayo Clinic defines narcissism as, quote, a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. But
I have at least two of those.
we'll get to the checklist. But behind this mask of extreme confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that is vulnerable to the slightest criticism.
That I don't really have. I have an inflated self-esteem. It's
You're like,
a little
whatever,
too much.
that's just your opinion.
Yeah,
You're just grandiose everywhere.
I am so fucking grandiose, you guys.
Maybe a God complex.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
fine. I'm fine.
So, like I was saying, it's easy to dismiss an egocentric person as a narcissist, but believe it or not all assholes are actual legit narcissists. So, narcissistic personality disorder is diagnosed when a clinician observes at least 5 of 7 specific traits. So, the
I'm
ones that
thinking
I'm
about the DJ, trying to check them all off. Let's go.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, looking back, I'm like, oh, that was an abusive relationship, and I think he had narcissistic personality
Yes.
disorder.
A lot, if not all abusers do,
Yeah.
because other people exist to serve them and please them.
I mean, people abuse for all sorts of different reasons.
Well, right. But he also, like, got off on telling me that, like, at least, like, sexually, that I'm not, like, the best, that I'm not the best he'd ever had, and, like, trying to break down, like, my self-confidence.
And you're
It
like,
was fucked
yeah,
up.
I am.
Well, in the moment, no, I was not, because
It's
I was
also
in
just
my...
the craziest thing ever to say to one's partner.
You're choosing to keep having sex with me. What?
Yeah.
Why? What? It made no fucking sense.
He's just an asshole.
Such a piece of shit.
So
Anyway, there's my trauma for the day.
It's fine. Look at yeah.
So the following 7 like traits aren't exactly the traits that they use like from like the DSM-5,
Right.
but they're pretty close, so this is just what I'm going with. And keep in mind that this diagnostic rubric refers to significant impairments.
Okay.
So there could be instances of any of these things, but if they're like
Right. Like nobody's
Constant,
perfect. You're going to
significant.
have like bad days, or you're going to like fuck up and be an asshole and then like realize it later and feel
Yeah.
bad about it.
yeah.
Unlike a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are 9 specific traits and the accompanying symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. The first is grandiosity. So this is an exaggerated sense of self-importance, feeling superior to others, and the feeling that one deserves special treatment. And feelings are often accompanied by fantasies of unlimited success, brilliance, power, beauty, etc.
As a SoundCloud DJ
Yep.
and a short king.
I feel this only when in the Delta Lounge.
I've never been in the
You're
Delta Lounge.
It is pretty great.
The
The Delta Lounge also does give me a grandiose feeling of superiority.
I feel like I deserve special treatment inside
And
the Delta Lounge.
and a soup and salad bar and
Yeah.
yeah,
right.
And first class.
and all the free snacks.
Get off on being bumped up to first class.
Getting bumped up for free to first class is one of life's true
Greatest
pleasures.
choice. Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Kenyon checks this one off. Got it.
Yep.
Number 2, an excessive need for admiration. You must be the center of attention. This person often monopolizes conversations, and patients feel slighted, mistreated, depleted, and enraged when they're ignored.
Hello, it's me.
Check, check. Okay.
I don't feel like I have to always be the center of attention, but I definitely monopolize conversations. It's because I cannot shut the fuck up.
You also do not like being ignored, but who does?
Right.
You know, like that one. I feel like is kind of loose.
But I'm very happy to like celebrate others when it's like their special night or like,
sure.
you know, and I don't feel the need to be the center of attention there.
You can control yourself.
Right.
Mhm.
I sometimes can control myself. I wouldn't like propose at a wedding, but I would think about it.
Which people did do at my wedding. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Wait, but on the day of your wedding, or
no,
during
I guess
the week?
it was the day after.
All right.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
wasn't that night.
they're in South Africa. They're out doing beautiful
It's
things.
fine.
They're
I
on
get it.
vacation.
Frankie, I love you.
Yeah, that we're gonna give that one a pass.
That
That's a
one's
little bit special circumstances. It was like a really
Oh, and
big
I
deal
actually
trip.
am like, I really don't care. Like, it
No,
was just
of
a joke.
course. Yeah. But can you renew your vows so I can get proposed to at your vow renewal?
In South Africa, sure.
Anywhere. I don't care.
Love to
I'll
go
go
back.
anywhere to ruin your vow renewal with my special day.
I actually do already have an engagement gift for Amanda, so hurry up. I want to get it out of my house.
Don't talk to me about it. You know exactly who to talk to. You send him cat memes every
I'm
day.
wearing his sweatshirt.
You're wearing his business sweatshirt
I'll text
right
him right
now. Oh my God.
Okay, number 3. The narcissist has superficial and exploitative relationships. So relationships are based on surface attributes and not the unique qualities of others. People are only valued to the extent that they are viewed as beneficial.
None of us have this.
No.
No.
I also, though, not me, but I do sometimes think about, like, there's no way that the DJ doesn't know about the podcast. Like, there's no way. He probably doesn't listen, but there's no way that he doesn't know.
Right.
And so I like to think about how much he's
Mainly
fucking
because
kicking
we
himself.
bought billboards.
I mean, yeah, but he doesn't live here anymore. He got ran out of town with pitchforks. So
Got run
he
out.
gone. But that gives me a little bit of gratification to be like, oh, we are successful. How's your SoundCloud DJ situation?
Yeah. I think that's totally valid and fair.
I think so.
Comeuppance is great, especially against someone who was abusive.
I love comeuppance.
I love just desserts. Like only dessert.
When I get my bird, I'm going to name her Comeuppance.
Ooh.
Florence comeuppance.
Florence Nightingale Comeuppance.
Slushy, wets, pussy, comeuppance.
Please, I still have not recovered from that.
That's from a drunk dive, y'all. Go listen.
No, it's
No,
from
it's
Gak.
Gak.
That's from Gak, y'all. Go listen.
And my throat hurt from screaming and laughing so hard at that. Holy shit. Okay,
It was
continue.
too
We
good.
are so funny. God, we're so good at this one.
Oh my God. We're so good. I'm so glad to have you as friends. It's very beneficial to me.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, a lack of empathy. So a narcissist is severely limited or totally lacking the ability to care about the emotional needs or experiences of others, even their loved ones.
I don't think
That's
we
scary.
have this either.
No,
I am
wouldn't say we do.
empathetic to a fault, I think, according to my aura.
Especially when it comes to strangers needing
a
group
photo.
photos.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When we were leaving the metaphysical fair, so it's at the fairgrounds. So around it is like a 10-foot chain link, probably not 10, like an 8-foot chain link fence. And there's like a couple rows of barbed wire above it. Oh, this is so disturbing. Apparently a possum tried crawling over the fence and got stuck in the barbed wire.
No, was it still there?
There, like a groundskeeper had like a broom and was like shoving it and trying to get it out, and it was like flailing.
Oh, it was alive?
It was alive.
Well, that's good.
Uh,
Did she make it?
I drove past it. I saw the guy with the broom shoving upwards, and I was like, "What the fuck is he doing?" Oh my God!
Oh, no.
No, there's a possum in our yard. It's enormous.
Yeah,
and
they get big.
Josie's friends with her, and we've named her Paula.
Paula Possum.
Oh my God, I love Paula. Protect Paula at all costs.
I
Paula
know.
is not afraid of us either, or Josie.
Absolutely not.
Like,
State
she
fair
was
possum
right
is-
by my back door, and I was like, "Hi, can
They
you?"
often are not timid or afraid of
No.
humans.
They're
She just
so
looked
weird
up at me.
looking. Oh,
Love.
lucky.
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
I like their long noses.
They're rat tails.
Okay, back to narcissism. Number 5,
right.
they have an identity disturbance. So their sense of self is highly superficial, extremely rigid, and often fragile.
Okay.
Self-stability depends on maintaining that view, the view that one is exceptional. The grandiose sense of self is easily threatened, and narcissists retreat from or deny realities that challenge their grandiosity.
So
Does that ring any bells of any recent presidents?
Oh, yeah. This definitely accounts for the like instant violent reaction when challenged or like embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
You know that-
Humiliation is like,
Yeah, isn't that like Margaret Atwood, who's like, men are worried that women will laugh at them and
Yeah.
women are worried that men will kill them. Like,
Yeah.
that's like narcissism in a nutshell. And
Yep.
like,
And
I have my-
Leos.
yeah. I have my thoughts on Margaret Atwood. There are some problematic things about her, but like, that's a pretty fucking spot on
oh, yeah.
assessment
Yeah.
of like narcissistic, specifically white male energy.
And also why abusers will react so violently
Right.
to,
If they're embarrassed or,
Mhm.
yeah.
or that'll be the first thing, like they'll play it off in public, but then behind closed doors, why did you fucking embarrass me like that? Or like, you're
Yup.
such a fucking whore. Wow, does that make me look?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Definitely experienced a little bit of that.
Oh, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I hated that man.
Uh-huh.
Okay, number 6, the narcissist has difficulty with attachment and dependency. So they rely on feedback from the environment. Relationships only exist to shore up their positive self-image. Interactions are superficial and intimacy is avoided. There we go.
Okay.
Number 7, they have chronic feelings of emptiness and boredom. So when attention and praise are not available, narcissists feel empty, bored, depressed, or restless.
Yeah, they're just a hole, like a deep, deep well with no bottom
Right.
of need for attention and praise.
And
Well,
they
this
can't
makes-
fulfill that need themselves.
Right. This makes so much sense too. God, with like, I'm just thinking back on all of this shit, like changing up careers, not feeling satisfied like anywhere. It's just like would go
Well,
work at
this-
a new restaurant, and if they weren't like the top dog there within like 5 minutes, then like that place is fucked up and I don't want to work there anymore.
Yeah.
Like that kind of dumb shit.
Or like anytime someone kind of reads their number
Mm-hmm.
and
Calls them out a little bit.
yeah, then they have to get out of that situation.
Oh,
or
yeah,
like
and they
ruin that other person.
They totally did that. They like stirred up drama that like didn't exist with someone who is currently one of my closest friends, and we've remained extremely close friends, and like got that person kicked out of their apartment and like basically left here with no friends because he created divisions with everybody that he picked off everyone that he didn't deem worthy of his attention, and then like tried to use other people against that person to like alienate them from the friend group.
Yeah.
It was fucking wild.
It's like Donald Trump with fucking Mitt Romney, making him go to that dinner and then like humiliate him, or Chris Christie. Like that is the playbook.
Yep.
Calling their wives ugly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, number 8, they have vulnerability to life transitions. So they have difficulty maintaining reality-based personal and professional goals over time. Compromises required by school, jobs, and relationships may feel unbearable.
Okay.
Narcissistic young adults may have a failure to launch.
Because they expect and they need to be the best and super
Right.
successful from the jump
Right. Without putting in the
without
work.
putting in the work or being patient at all. And that's
And then
just
when
not
they
how
don't
life
get that,
works.
yeah, then they freak out and lose their shit.
Mhm. Or like if you're in like say a university setting and they're like, well, I'm sorry, like you have to do these prerequisites or like you have to like pass this test to get to this level of like college course, like
Well, I'm
basic
too good for
life
that,
rules.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, it goes back to feeling like they are the exception,
Right.
in every in every situation. And then the last thing, it's not really like a trait, but narcissistic personality disorder is also a significant risk factor for suicide and suicidal attempts and ideations.
Or murder suicide, which we will get to.
Oh,
Great.
yes, we will.
So people with NPD have trouble handling anything that they perceive as criticism and they can become impatient or angry when they don't receive special treatment. They can have significant interpersonal problems and easily feel slighted. They
or
can,
like invent scenarios if they just like already don't like someone, or they like sense that that person
Is a threat to them.
is
in
a
any
threat to
way.
them, then they will invent a slight.
they need
Yep.
their environment to match up with their worldview.
Right.
So they'll, even if it goes back to the fantasy thing, they can react with rage or contempt and try to belittle the other person to make themselves appear superior. They can have difficulty regulating emotions and behavior, go figure. They can experience major problems dealing with stress and adapting to change. They can feel depressed and moody because they fall short of perfection. And they can have secret feelings of insecurity, shame, vulnerability, and humiliation. And we'll kind of get to, there's different types of narcissists. Some of them are just like so fucking delusional that they're like, isn't that inner core of fragility that they recognize?
Well, they don't even have like the perfectionism because, like you said, they're so delusional that they just say
Are
it and that
perfect.
it's true.
But,
In their
But there
minds.
are different types of narcissists, and some
Right.
of them are, I mean, as with everything, it's a
A
spectrum.
spectrum. Yeah.
Right.
So findings from a range of studies suggest a picture of the narcissists as people who use their friends to feel good about themselves. They pander for attention and admiration to support self-images that are positive but easily threatened. They are constantly on alert for even the smallest slight that they perceive as disrespect. Perhaps most important, narcissists striving to self-enhance at the expense of their friends ultimately cost them the friendships.
I feel like anyone that talks about, that uses like the word disrespect a lot in their daily lives, I feel like that's a little sus.
Yeah. I mean, certainly when white people do it, that's real sus. It depends on the circumstances.
It just gives very like Real Housewives
right.
vibes.
Yes.
Everything is
Narcissism
like,
on
well, that
show.
was disrespectful.
Yeah.
But then it also just like suggests that you deserve everyone's respect across the board, regardless.
And that posturing of like, well, I would never treat anyone like that. I am superior. My behavior is superior to your behavior.
And I am the last word in what is polite and what
Yep.
is respect. And
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought this was interesting. Heritability studies using twins have shown that narcissistic traits, as measured by standardized tests, are often inherited.
Interesting.
Narcissism was found to have a high heritability score, indicating that the concordance of this trait in the identical twins was significantly influenced by genetics as compared to an environmental causation.
That'd be tough to be a narcissist and an identical twin.
oh,
To
God.
try to be like, I'm special, I'm superior, and there's this not carbon copy of me,
copy of
but
me.
like
in your
pretty
own,
close.
like, probably in your own grandiose delusion, though,
right,
you'd be like, well, fuck this carbon copy of me. I'm
Right.
the best one.
right.
Oh,
Or you have like a collective narcissism.
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, competitive-collective-narcissism.com.
Ick. So people in more individualistic societies tend to have higher levels of narcissism when compared to collectivist societies.
It's like why we have the most mass shooters in the fucking world.
Capitalism.
One reason. One study looked at differences in advertising products between an individualistic culture, which they use the United States, and a collectivist culture, which they use South Korea. In American magazine ads, it found there was a greater tendency to stress the distinctiveness and uniqueness of the person. Conversely, the South Korean ones stressed the importance of social conformity and harmony.
I feel like that's like a little bit vague. It's a little bit like using the word in the definition of the word, but go off this study.
What?
Like, they were like, we noticed that ads in individualist cultures are more individualist, whereas ads in collectivist cultures are more collectivist.
It's like, yep,
I think they were just using the ads as a
one
to
example.
to convey how that society is.
Right.
Like you can say that the society is collectivist, but like, okay,
The ads would be one
the ads
piece
just
of evidence
show
for that.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so this is from Psychology Today. Narcissistic personality disorder can be subdivided into positive and negative types known as prosocial or antisocial narcissism. Inherent in the current perception of narcissism is a quality of being in it for oneself and often misusing or exploiting relationships for one's own benefit. This best characterizes the antisocial narcissist, so often an extremely difficult, self-centered individual who expects excessive gratification from others in their life. By contrast, prosocial narcissists derive credit from positive accomplishments. They strive to do good deeds, often in public, and to make other people happy with them. In this way, they derive the validation that they too desperately need.
Right. I feel like if you're in a role where like fundraising, either for political causes or, nonprofits or something like that, like it would help to be a pro-social narcissist in that role. Like you kind of have to be good at it. It's really hard to do fundraising if you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I was saying, that not all assholes are narcissists and not all narcissists are assholes. They're not the malignant type necessarily.
Right. Sometimes it's just like you're very like focused and ambitious on something that could be good for a lot of people. And then you happen to derive your self-worth from that.
Right.
Yep. So exactly what I'm about to say. If there are pro-social narcissists in your life, you may know them by how much fun they are to be around. And also, they take deep satisfaction in that reaction to them. They want to be liked, sometimes a little too much.
Yeah.
They want to be known and appreciated by everyone in their lives, and their intentions are overall benign.
So, Amanda, you're just a pro-social narcissist.
I'm fine with that. I accept this.
Yeah.
I accept.
Far from showing a lack of empathy, as in the person with traditional narcissistic personality disorder, these people use their empathy to tune into what pleases you, and in doing so, they find validation.
Also, Libras.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, this is like the most fucking Libra energy ever.
Yeah. By contrast, a malignant narcissist doesn't do anything for your benefit. They are liable to lash out at or attempt to destroy other people in order to prop up their fragile sense of self. So Otto Kernberg, that guy I talked about earlier, first described the malignant narcissist in the late 1980s. That should be 1890s. Whatever. No, 1980s.
Those numbers are all the same to me.
In the late
In the late, describing it as a blend between the narcissistic and antisocial personality disorders. These people can form long-term relationships, but their behavior is unstable and they can become aggressive if they perceive themselves to be threatened.
And also it depends on the type of relationship, because you can be surrounded by yes men and enablers, and those relationships can last a long time. That doesn't mean they're healthy.
Yep. Internally, they are working hard to protect their grandiose self-perceptions and can often be thin-skinned, perceiving everyday events such as a casual remark as attacks. People with antisocial narcissism also do not feel limited by the truth, but when they are caught in a lie, they may become angry. They view the social landscape as something like an enormous contest, and they will do anything to win. So there's also another less obvious kind of narcissist to watch out for apart from the antisocial and grandiose type, and that is the covert or vulnerable narcissist.
Sounds scary.
Don't be deceived by the name, because these individuals also believe they are superior, but they keep these beliefs inside. Vulnerable narcissists are deeply self-absorbed. They maintain an artificially inflated sense of themselves and believe that they are entitled to more attention than they get.
These are like, they like to be the martyr.
I thought of incels when I read this.
Exactly. Yeah. Incels. It's
We'll
like,
get to incels.
like
Great.
they feel entitled to all these things that they don't have.
But they
and
don't
they're-
necessarily exert it. They just kind of
Or they just whine about it.
They just
and
whine
blame
about
everyone
it.
else around them.
Yep. So they therefore feel chronically victimized, as though the world has failed to recognize their brilliance or specialness.
Or like
Yup.
that person in the friend group who like always has their feelings hurt and wants an apology.
Yeah.
Like always.
Yeah. In this, the covert narcissist becomes prone to feelings of depression, even as they express powerful contempt for other people. These narcissists, too, lack empathy. They may be highly sensitive, but their sensitivity does not extend to the feelings of others. So, yeah, I just thought of incels when I read that.
Yeah.
So, here are some tips on how to handle the narcissists in your life.
If only I had had this 10 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
Almost.
Wow.
Yeah, because he broke up with me when my dad died, and my dad died in 2013.
Shit. God, I can't believe
Oh my
it's been
God,
that
your
long.
dad's been dead for almost 10 years?
Yep.
Jesus. That's, wow. Feels like just yesterday.
Like
It
the
does.
end, like he died in December of 2013.
Right.
So we're like at almost 2 years.
So like
out,
eight
but
and a half years ago.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
This past December was 8 years.
Jesus.
Jeez.
I know time is a fucking illusion. It
It's-
does not exist.
No,
It's
it
really
doesn't.
odd.
It does not exist at all.
Okay, tip number 1. Educate yourself. You should find out more about this disorder because knowing who they are might also allow you to accept the situation for what it is and have realistic expectations for that
Yeah.
relationship.
They're not gonna change.
They're not going to change. Create boundaries and be clear about those boundaries. It may upset or disappoint the narcissist, but that's okay because remember, it is not your job to control another person's emotions. Speak up for yourself. When you need something, be clear and concise and make sure that they understand your request. Watch your wording. Narcissists do not take constructive criticism well, so try to make comments in really careful, positive ways.
That's so scary, but yeah.
Like assuming that you want to keep this person in your life, but
Right.
like you don't have
But it might be
to.
like
Right.
your brother, you know?
Yeah.
It
Right.
might be
Yeah.
someone who's
You're
in
kind
your
of
life.
forced to have a relationship
Yeah.
with. Yeah.
Right.
Stay calm. Try not to react if they try to pick a fight or gaslight you. If they lash out, think of them as a 3-year-old who feels rejected because their parent sets a bedtime. Just like, okay, honey, I understand. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm
See
still
that you're
going to do
upset.
it.
I know that you have big feelings, and it's okay to have big feelings.
You're gonna set off the narcissist so bad.
You have big
That
feelings.
is- I'm scared for you. I know you have big feelings. It's okay to have big feelings. Remember what we learned about how to handle our big feelings.
Now, do you want to walk to your crib, or do you want mommy to carry you?
Do you need a popsicle? Are you hungry? You get really cranky when you're hungry.
Grab a Snickers. Okay, create a support
We just
system.
got murdered in this,
Oh my
in
God,
this
I know.
fake scenario. Okay, moving on.
Well, it would help if you had a support system. Living with a
That it would.
narcissist can lead to feelings of insecurity, confusion, and self-doubt because the gaslighting is real.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you have a core group of people in your life who can support you.
And that you can like bounce things off of. You can be like, hey, my partner said this and like thinks that like this is how this should work. Like, what do you guys think? And then your friends can be like, no, he's a fucking asshole. Dump him.
Yep.
Right. But I mean, that's so much easier said than done
Yeah.
because, like, even when I was with you know who, I had you guys, I had that core group, but they can be so tactful and manipulative that,
Yeah.
like, I don't think I really realized what was going on.
I never realized how
you
he was
never
treating you.
said, yeah, you did not reach
Yeah.
out. And
I
it,
like did,
it didn't come out until after the relationship was over.
and I don't think I really understood. I think I was like, oh yeah, we fight and our fights are kind of nasty. But then, like, it wasn't until my dad died and he like really spit in my face on the way out.
Right.
Not my dad, this guy, that I was able to like not center him because I had other shit going on in my life
Right.
that was far more fucking important. And with that separation, I was like, oh no,
Right.
this was real bad.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
like
kind
didn't
of
even
like-
fucking know.
Well, yeah, that's true for a lot of abuse victims. It's really hard to know when you're in it. Same thing with like depression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I first was extremely depressed, I was 16 and living with that horrible host family in France. And I didn't know I was depressed until I got out of that situation and came back to my normal self and could
Right.
look back on it and be like, oh my God, I was so deeply depressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Also, find a therapist.
Right.
Here are things not to do with a narcissist. Don't argue or confront them. As difficult as it may be to constantly tiptoe around them, it can actually be better to manage their need to feel in charge.
Might save your fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, take this one with a grain of salt. Again, it's like, don't endanger yourself, but also don't enable. And, if you can realize the situation and if you can get out of it, then do that.
Just to be clear, we are not just talking about abusive people. We're not just talking about partnerships. These are
right.
You can your best
could be
friend
your
could
boss.
be a narcissist.
It could be, it could be, exactly. It could be your parent.
That this is not this is not necessarily an abuse situation,
Right, and like you said before, not all narcissists are abusive.
Mm-hmm.
No, and not all abusers are narcissists. It's just, I just want to make sure that we're clear.
Right. That sentence with a grain of salt depends on the context.
Mm-hmm.
All of this depends on the context.
Right.
In general, it could be easier to manage your relationship with the narcissist, regardless of who they are, if you just don't argue with them.
Mm-hmm.
You can just kind of understand how their mind works.
Yeah.
And
like
find
the
better
example-
ways to communicate and navigate.
It's like
that
not
relationship.
arguing with strangers on the internet.
Right. Or like Lucy said, it could be your brother, like choosing your battles at the family holiday so that you can just fucking get through it.
Yep.
Right.
And without exploding the whole fucking family.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That would be applicable in that kind of situation.
Yes.
Depending on the circumstances and context, of course.
Similarly, don't try to direct them. Narcissists like to have control and often fear losing that control. So efforts to kind of lead or instruct or tell a narcissist what to do is threatening to them, and it'll often fail, probably backfire.
Mm.
Don't expect them to see your point of view. Narcissists do not like to admit when they're wrong, so trying to make them see things your way could also backfire.
Or it just won't work. It'll just be really, really frustrating.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Don't expect deep, meaningful communication. Narcissists have very little empathy, so honest, heartfelt communication often does not get through and can even create an angry outburst or a shutdown response.
Or they can use what you've told them later on to exploit you or gaslight you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go over past issues. So don't try to make them see a long line of behaviors dating back years or say something like, oh, you're just like your father.
They won't comprehend the patterns anyway. That's not
well, they'll
fucking
just
worth
deny.
It.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not what they want to hear.
It's not what they understand.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, stay in the present when you express requests or hurt feelings or whatever. So, on the bright side, there are treatments for narcissistic personality disorder, which include various forms of psychotherapies, medications such as mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, antidepressants, and also different behavioral therapies. So, if for any reason you feel like you might fall under this umbrella, and if you're able to admit that you fall under this umbrella, don't let stereotypes prevent you from seeking help, because it's taxing on relationships, no matter what side of them you're on. So,
and some of these traits might be learned behaviors. Like you said, it's a heritable disorder.
Right. If this has been your example of how to conduct yourself your whole life,
right.
It's not
well,
necessarily
also
your fault.
It's in your genes.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like any other mental health condition. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to manage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
interesting.
That's my segment.
That's really interesting.
I hope you learned some things
Definitely did.
about yourself, maybe.
Yep. I'm fine.
Pro-social narcissism. It's fine.
That one's the good one. You got the good
I'll
one.
take it. I got the good. I won.
Yeah.
I won that lotto.
All right, let's hear
And
a quick...
I'm the best pro-social narcissist.
Oh my God. Let's hear a quick word from our sponsors.
You know, it's funny. There are all these gimmicks that promise a great night's sleep, and I've tried them. I had toppers, I had fancy blankets, I had all kinds of dumb stuff that didn't work. It's lipstick on a pig, honey. If you're sleeping on a bad mattress, your sleep's gonna be bad. It's that simple. And that is why I recommend sleeping on a purple mattress.
You guys, we're completely obsessed with purple mattress.
Yeah.
And that is because only purple mattresses have the Gel Flex Grid, which is a super stretchy, ultra squishy material that adapts and flexes around pressure points and doesn't retain heat.
It's heaven.
It's heaven. It's all the best things that you can have in one mattress. So the Gel Flex Grid is amazingly supportive for your back and legs. It cushions your shoulders, neck, and hips, no matter how you sleep or how curvaceous you might be. And unlike memory foam, which remembers things,
too much. It remembers too much.
it takes too long to return to its normal shape from your body
if it ever
shape.
does.
And it get dust is trapped in there and skin
narcy.
flakes. I don't.
Well, I can't.
No. Unlike that, the Gel Flex Grid system with purple mattresses means that you bounce back as you move and shift. So you never have that stuck quicksand feeling that you get with memory foam. I'm just completely obsessed with purple. I have 2 purple mattresses in my house and a bunch of purple pillows, and my husband and I had to buy more purple pillows because we fought over the original ones.
Yeah, get your own, Zach.
So try your purple mattress risk-free with free shipping and returns, and financing is available too.
Oh, I love it. So getting a great night's sleep starts with having a great mattress. Get a purple mattress. Go to purple.com/gals10 and use code gals10. And for a limited time, you can get 10% off any order of $200 or more. That's purple.com/gals10, code gals10 for 10% off any order of $200 or more. One more time, purple.com/gals10, promo code gals10. Terms apply, and treat your sleep.
Treat it. Are we ready for my case?
Usually
Yeah.
not.
Obviously, it's sad and dark, but I'll also be giving you 3 narcissists for the price of
good.
1.
It's a bogle.
There's a main one,
Throgo.
but then there are
Throgel. Caldrogel.
2 additional ones. Okay.
A bonus, yeah.
So Dorothy Hoog Stratton, later shortened to the stage name Dorothy Stratton, because
Stage name.
Hoog Stratton is a little tough. It's kind of like Natalie Hirschlag.
Uh-huh.
Was born in Vancouver
Oh.
on February 28th, 1960, to Simon and Nellie Hoog Stratton, who had immigrated to Canada from the Netherlands.
Oh, you don't say.
It's a cute
With
little Dutch family.
the name like Hoog Stratton.
Mm-hmm. So Dorothy was the oldest of 3. She had a younger brother and a younger sister. Her parents split up when she was young, and her father essentially split and abandoned the family. And so Mom Nellie had to provide for the 3 young children with just her paycheck as a school cafeteria worker, which you can imagine was
Not
tight.
easy.
So when Dorothy was a freshman in high school, she began working part-time at the local Dairy Queen
Oh, I love it.
to help
Classic.
her mom with bills. She would have been my Aunt Julie's absolute idol, a Dairy Queen lady.
I wanted to be a Dairy Queen lady when I was little, as my
Still
career.
do.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted to do the
God.
gel icing on the ice cream cakes.
yeah.
You would have
It's
been good
not
at that.
too late, honey. Yeah.
You've got good handwriting. You could
You
have done
really
that.
do. You're a great painter. It's not too late. Follow your dreams.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And Dorothy would keep this job through all 4 of her high school years because I'm sure she kept some of the money for spending money, but mainly she was giving her paycheck to her mom to help with the family bills, which is very altruistic. So it was here that 17-year-old Dorothy met 26-year-old club promoter.
No.
That is
Paul,
one
never
step
good.
down from a SoundCloud DJ.
From aspiring rapper,
God.
Oh, Lord.
aspiring DJ,
Ugh.
club promoter, Paul Snyder. There are photos of all these people on the drive, like lots of photos. And some of the photos of Paul Snyder are redonkulous. So just take a look at this guy. He was a peacock.
The mustache guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so many open shirts.
Oh.
So much chest hair.
So much fur.
Wow.
Wow, that last
Yeah, he really
one.
wanted to be, the fedora. No.
Mhm.
Ugh.
So Paul styled himself as a high roller, dressing in mink coats with a bejeweled Star of David necklace.
God bless.
He also drove a black Corvette, of which he was extremely proud.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say.
I don't think there are that many high rollers in Vancouver, but fine.
You never know.
Maybe today.
Mm-hmm.
So a friend would later recall that Snyder's initial reaction upon meeting Dorothy, again, he's 26, she's 17, and working at the Dairy Queen,
Mm-hmm.
was, quote, "That girl could make me a lot of money."
Oh, God.
Ew.
Talk about exploitative relationships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Paul's nickname around town was the Jewish pimp.
Oh, God. I was going to say he looks like he's trying to dress like a pimp for sure.
Yeah. And actually, this wasn't an inaccurate moniker because he had briefly moved to LA and tried to make a living as a literal pimp
Mm-hmm.
in Beverly Hills, but had failed and ended up back in Vancouver.
Okay. Well, great.
However, he'd not let go of the idea of using women as a means to fund his own lavish lifestyle, or like pretend lavish, because he still was like living in an apartment. You know, like he didn't actually have the means
Right.
to do anything.
He's just pretending.
Right. And so Paul wooed Dorothy, who was still a teenager and in high school, by buying her jewelry and cooking her dinner in his apartment, things that felt glamorous to the teenager who had never known much besides like financial struggle of her
Right.
family.
She has no fucking money and she's helping support her family. So she's vulnerable to the like grand, sweep you off
He's
your
an
feet.
older
I have
guy
my own
giving her
apartment.
attention, buying her
Yep.
jewelry, and making
Yep.
her dinner in an apartment that is his own.
Yep.
And
it's
he's
going
got
to
a
look.
car.
Yeah. He's basically he's like a rock star to her.
Right.
I
Right.
would have hung out with this guy.
Absolutely. We'd all be vulnerable to some bullshit like that.
Right.
At that age. 100%.
Your brain is not fully developed yet.
No.
So in 1978, Snyder hired a professional photographer to take nude photos of Dorothy, hoping to send them to Playboy. And like if she's selected, he would get $1,000 finder's
recruitment
fee for
Yo.
discovering new models.
Ew.
God.
And Dorothy was only 18 at the time, but the legal age of majority in Canada then was 19. Which Amanda and I also learned the hard way when we went to Toronto when we were 18, thinking that we could drink, and we like still then had to fake
Yeah.
our age to drink.
We found a way.
It was fine. But
We got our apple teenies. Don't
we still got
worry.
our apple teenies in Toronto.
We literally got apple teenies
We
in
did.
Toronto.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
that
I
gives
also
me a
got an
headache.
espresso
yeah.
martini or
Our
something.
end of the night espresso chocolate, our Godiva martinis. Oh, we did it. No, there's no way they knew we were teenagers with those orders.
Oh my God. Okay, so Dorothy had to persuade her mother to sign a release form allowing her to take these photos. And somehow she convinced Nellie to say yes to this.
I mean, I imagine the financial draw, potentially, she's 18.
Yep.
It's tough. That's really tough.
So the photos resulted in Dorothy being invited to participate in Playboy magazine's 25th anniversary Great Playmate Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
She accepted, and in the summer of 1978, she moved to LA and was ultimately chosen as a finalist in the contest.
I mean, she's stunning.
She is stunningly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
in October, Snyder also left Vancouver and joined Dorothy in LA, and the two were married the following summer. So he just was like,
locking this down.
Yeah, exactly. Clinging to those coattails. By this point, Dorothy had changed her last name to Stratton and was regularly modeling for Playboy, as well as working as a bunny at the Playboy Club.
I've heard the name Dorothy Stratton.
She was also, eventually she had an unfortunately short-lived acting career because of this asshole. But yes.
Okay. Huh.
She was even chosen as Playboy's Miss August of 1979 and featured in the centerfold. So like her modeling career and her like life at Playboy
We're thriving.
is thriving. It's taking off. But despite her success in the Playboy world, Dorothy was later described by other playmates as, quote, shy, naive, and very uncomfortable with the casual nudity and sex surrounding her. So she, like, was playing the game and was in it, but it wasn't really...
She wasn't thrilled to be there.
She didn't... Yeah, she didn't love it. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure to provide sexual favors to either Hugh Hefner or, like, other... higher ups.
Yep,
And
partying at the Playboy Mansion
and like she just wanted to be a model, or an actress.
Or an actress, yeah,
like
or
she,
both, yeah.
She didn't. Yeah, she never quite got used to it. She was a small town girl, even though she's from Vancouver. You get what I'm saying?
Get it? Yeah, she wasn't interested in that lifestyle. This was. It sounds like to her this was a stepping stone, like a starting point on the way to the career she actually wanted.
Right.
But she probably got a little trapped here because this fucking narcissist that married her sees his meal ticket by passing her around in these fucking unsafe situations that she doesn't even want to goddamn be in.
Slash, it's just exciting. Like, who knows if she was even being strategic about
she's 18.
these relationships.
Right.
It was just exciting.
Yeah, she's making money. She's, getting some fame.
Yeah.
I would be all about all of it.
Oh my God. So Stratton later wrote in a journal she kept that, quote, sometimes I cried before I went to sleep. A lot of men were entering my life all of a sudden, and a lot of them wanted me. No one was ever pushy or forceful, but talk can be very powerful, especially to a mixed up little girl.
Oh, this poor baby.
So Hugh Hefner reportedly encouraged Dorothy to break up with Snyder, referring to him as a, quote, hustler and a pimp, as opposed to like, Hugh fucking Hefner.
Yeah, he would be the expert.
Yeah.
When you think
I
about
just
it.
love that, like, you don't want to be with this guy. He's
Advice,
honey.
Come be with me. I'll take good care of you.
Oh my God, gross.
It's
What a
just,
fucking
there's
shit.
The lack of self-awareness.
Yeah, it's so narcissistic.
Yeah. So now we've got two. We've got Paul Snyder
right.
and we've got Hugh Hefner.
Okay. Also, every time you say Paul Snyder, I think of Rob Schneider, but it's fine.
Right.
Me too.
Same,
Rob
actually.
Schneider.
It kind of looks like him.
It doesn't.
Like a little bit.
Sure. If you really squint and you close one eye, it really looks like Rob Schneider.
Well, I'm always closing one eye.
That's true, to be fair.
So Hefner believed that Stratton could have crossover success as an actress and that Snyder was holding back her career because nobody fucking liked him. And they would like go to networking parties and whatever. And also
He's grossed out by this sleazeball.
Right, exactly. Or like it's two-sided. It's like people naturally just don't like Paul Snyder, so they don't want to be around him. And also men that could help Dorothy's career in fucking 1980
Probably
don't want her to be married.
Yeah, so she's
exactly.
married. Yeah, exactly.
So indeed, Snyder was a near constant presence. According to one source, he played the roles of Dorothy's, quote, chauffeur, as well as her ersatz manager and acting coach. He had no experience acting.
Wow.
But all the
he's
confidence
the
in the
can
world.
coach.
Yep. He's the best
He's
acting coach.
seen a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
How hard
could it be?
Right, exactly. He could have been the best.
If anyone had just given him a chance. God.
So
He was
Stratton,
slighted.
So Stratton did begin to achieve crossover success, booking roles in the TV series Buck Rogers and Fantasy Island, as well as a variety of small movie roles. According to one former Playboy employee, quote, Dorothy was important because Hefner is regarded by Hollywood as an interloper. They'll come to his parties and play his games, but they won't give him respect. One of the ways he can gain legitimacy is to be a star maker. Does that sound familiar? That just reminds me of Trump so much.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to be accepted.
Why do you think he fucking like owns the Miss America pageant?
Right. He wants to be accepted by Hollywood and like A-list people, but he'll always be a joke.
Yep.
And so he just tries harder. So Hefner was like really invested in Dorothy's career because of what she could give him.
Right. He can hitch his wagon to her star and then be the one who's like, well, I discovered her. I launched her career.
And it gives more legitimacy to Playboy
Yep.
if you can show other young women who are aspiring actors, well, this girl made it and she
this
started
is the
here.
potential. Fuck.
So Paul Snider was like countless degrees more of a Hollywood interloper than Hefner. He's basically like just way more of a joke.
Well, and
small
Hefner was
time
like at
Hefner.
least known at this time.
Well, he had
Like,
money. He'd created like an empire out of Playboy.
Right.
I feel like
This-
1980 was like the height of Playboy.
Right.
Yeah.
And this Rob Schneider guy was just a fucking nobody married to
Yeah.
a beautiful woman who had,
The only thing he'd ever done was recognize that Dorothy was very pretty and like caught her when she was young and vulnerable enough that he could hitch his wagon to her.
Yeah, he's
Exactly.
using her.
So Snyder knew that his only shot of achieving any sort of success in the entertainment industry was through Dorothy. Dorothy's big break in Hollywood came in 1980 when she was cast in a movie called They All Laughed, a romantic comedy that was being directed by Peter Bogdanovich, and it starred Audrey Hepburn and John Ritter.
Dang. Big names.
Yep. So this was Dorothy's first substantial movie role, and she'd be playing John Ritter's unhappily married love interest. And the film was going to be shot on location in New York City. So now she's going to be across the country away from Snyder.
Unless he fucking demands to go with her.
So at first, Snyder insisted on accompanying Dorothy to New York, but she managed to convince him to stay behind.
That's amazing that she managed to do that, to be honest.
She was a smart cookie. Telling him that the set would be closed to anyone but the cast and essential crew and that he would just be like bored.
Sitting around all day. Smart move. Good for her.
So soon after Dorothy arrived in New York, she and the director, Peter Bogdanovich, began having an affair, and this would continue throughout the film's production.
Good for her.
Again, she's 20.
Look, I have no judgment toward her. Fucking do
No.
what you want. Yeah.
No, not at all. But I'm just saying, like, so much happened in her life,
Yeah.
and she was still so young. So in April of 1980, Dorothy briefly returned to LA to attend events celebrating her selection as Playmate of the Year.
Wow. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of exposure. I mean, no pun intended, but that's a lot of exposure.
And like the fact that she was making strides in her acting career is also part of what made her Playmate of the Year.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's a success story.
So following this, she embarked on a 2-week publicity tour in Canada, which would end with her returning home to Vancouver to attend her mother's wedding and spend time with family. Paul did not go with her on this. So she wrote a letter to him from Canada asking for, quote, more freedom in their relationship, the beginning of the slow breakup.
Prime the pump, girl.
I can't with that phrase.
Prime it. I'm embracing it. It grosses me out, so I'm reclaiming prime the pump.
It's like leaf peeping.
Ugh.
So Snyder's response was to absolutely freak the fuck out and fly to Vancouver immediately and confront her because, like, he could smell blood in the water and was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
she's
this
going to
is
leave
over.
me. So the two had several heated arguments, and eventually Snyder returned to Los Angeles while Dorothy flew back to New York. In June of 1980, Dorothy sent Snyder another letter, this one declaring that she considered them to be physically and financially separated. Snyder responded by emptying the couple's joint bank account.
Ugh, always take your money out before you
First.
send the letter. I'm not victim blaming, I'm just advising.
Right.
Protect your fucking assets.
Yep. It's way too fucking easy to drain a joint bank account.
Yep.
And he hired a private detective to look into the possibility that Dorothy was having an affair with Bogdanovich because then he could possibly get a better divorce settlement
Sure
or
could.
whatever.
Alimony,
Yeah.
all kinds of shit.
But soon Stratton and Bogdanovich were carrying on their relationship publicly enough that one didn't need a private detective to figure out what was going on. They were just like
Out about
together.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, she's 20. So like
Right.
just
She told him they were separated.
it's like the fact that they were married was like such a technicality.
Yeah, it was a business arrangement, basically.
Yeah. I just feel like she just wanted to be broken up and found someone new.
Yeah.
So when principal photography on They All Laughed was completed, the couple went on her and Bogdanovich went on a 10-day vacation together in England. And when they returned to LA, Dorothy moved into his Bel Air mansion, although she also rented her own Beverly Hills apartment to be used as her like official address. But really, like they had moved in
They were
together.
living together. Yeah.
On the evening of July 31st, 1980, Snyder, who had realized that Dorothy was back in LA and was living with her new boyfriend, spent hours lurking outside Bogdanovich's mansion with a borrowed handgun before losing his nerve and driving away. He would later tell a friend that he had contemplated suicide that night but had not been able to go through with it. Then, on August 8th, Dorothy and Snyder met in person, and this was the first time they'd seen each other in person in months,
Yeah.
to like discuss the end of their relationship. So Snyder tried to persuade Dorothy to stay with him, but she told him that she'd fallen in love with Bogdanovich and wanted a divorce, and like it wasn't
Yeah.
gonna happen.
It's over.
Yeah. So they arranged to meet again the following week to discuss the financial settlement. The next day, though, August 9th, Snyder embarked on a quest to find a new gun because he'd had to return the borrowed gun to the friend.
God.
He was turned away from a local gun store because of his Canadian citizenship,
Okay.
which I feel like would not happen now. After which he tried to convince the private detective to purchase a gun for him, but the private detective refused.
Okay.
Good.
So Paul
So
Snyder,
far, so good.
Paul Snyder's like the one man in America who can't get his
couldn't
hands
get a
on a gun. Like he can't even do that.
Well, it's the 80s. It's a simpler time.
But don't worry, Paul eventually succeeded in purchasing a used shotgun from a private seller
Ew.
who
There it is.
advertised in the classifieds section.
Shotgun.
Facebook Marketplace.
Yep. So that week, Snyder made numerous disturbing comments to his friends, declaring that he was going to take up hunting, but he said it in like a very like tongue-in-cheek, like
Yeah.
looking for attention kind of way,
Ick.
Mm-hmm.
and attempting to engage them in morbid conversations about whether Playboy would have time to pull nude photos from an upcoming issue if the model died in the lead up to publication.
Holy shit. Why don't you just tell everyone I'm going to kill her?
I mean, he basically did, and unfortunately, none of these friends.
Did fuck all about it to protect her. Cool. Great. Love it. I'm fine.
One of them knew that he'd already borrowed a gun from him. Like, it's. They should have fucking said something, but they're all his buddies and they just ignored it. So then around noon on Thursday, August 14th, Dorothy arrived at Snyder's apartment for their scheduled meeting. Dorothy had spent the morning meeting with her own business manager to discuss like how much she should offer him as a monetary settlement. And her manager suggested that Dorothy should just begin communicating entirely through her lawyer and like stop going to see him in person.
Yep. It's not safe.
It's not safe and whatever. But Dorothy replied that the process would be quicker and easier if she just dealt with him by herself. And like she had been good at dealing with him.
Right. She knew him, how he operated.
Placating him.
And she didn't, I'm sure she wanted to avoid like tons of lawyers' fees, and it sounded like a hassle, and
Fuck ton of publicity.
right. So, like, I get where she was coming from, but I don't know, men are horrible. So,
Well, in hindsight.
Yeah.
right. So around 8 p.m. that evening, Snyder's roommates, who had been out all day, returned home. So again, Dorothy had come over that morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, she came over at noon
Mm-hmm.
to his place.
That's morning to me. So.
Right. So 8 p.m.,
Crack
the
of
roommates
dawn.
get home.
Mm-hmm.
They notice Dorothy's car in the driveway and the fact that Snyder's bedroom door was closed. And so they assumed that the couple had reconciled
And we're like hooking up.
and were like hooking up in Snyder's room.
Oh, God, no.
And so the roommates spent several hours watching TV in the living room and just hanging out. But when the pair still had not emerged after 11 p.m., like not even to like go to the bathroom or like say hi or anything.
It's like your roommates who thought you were fucking in the living room.
Right.
But it was Zach doing push-ups.
But it was Zach doing push-ups, and our roommates stayed the fuck in their bedroom with the door closed, thinking that we were randomly having sex at
In the
7
common
p.m.
area.
in the living room.
No.
The 7 p.m. part is the most
Like
egregious.
very rhythmic.
High traffic time for the living room.
Right.
All my shows are on, and you're fucking in the living room.
They didn't even eat dinner that night.
They're still traumatized.
Why was he doing push-ups for that long?
He wasn't. I think they were just so like on edge once the
By the
sound
sound.
ended.
What the sound ended.
We'll let them cool off
Fuck-
before we come out of our
Fucking
room.
incredible. I was asleep in my room. Anyway,
That tracks.
so
7 p.m.
I had a
She's
headache.
out.
Okay, so it's 11 p.m. They're like, this is weird. So they opened the bedroom door and they found the dead bodies of both Stratton and Snyder.
Oh no, he murder-suicided. Fuck.
Both were nude and each had a wound from a single shot from a shotgun.
Ugh.
According,
Death by shotgun is gross.
according to the timeline later constructed by police, Snyder had raped Stratton and killed her within an hour of her arrival at the house, and then shot himself approximately 1 hour after the murder.
Ew.
So Dorothy Stratton's body was cremated and her remains interred at the Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in LA.
Mhm.
Again, she was 20. Her death became a subject of finger-pointing and blame among the men in her life who survived her. Hefner blamed Snyder for her death and was publicly defensive against accusations that he had also exploited her, stating, quote, "There is still a great tendency for this thing to fall into the classic cliche of small town girl comes to Playboy, comes to Hollywood, life in the fast lane, and that was somehow related to her death. That is not what really happened. A very sick guy saw his meal ticket and his connection to power, whatever, slipping away, and it was that made him kill her." Which, like, is factually true.
Right, but there's a lot more to it.
I
Both-
don't blame Hugh Hefner for her death.
No.
But
He
he
is someone who
definitely
tried to use her.
he definitely built an empire off of exploiting women. So are you
Right.
blameless? I don't think so.
Right. You're just a more successful version of this Paul
you
Snyder
just
guy.
happen to have not murdered anyone.
You were a piece of
As
this
far as we
entire
know.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't blame him for her death. But
No.
yeah,
No.
he just, whatever. Peter Bogdanovich, the director, on the other hand, publicly blamed Hefner and, quote, the Playboy lifestyle for contributing to her death, writing in a book he published about his relationship with Dorothy that, quote, "She could not handle the slick professional machinery of the Playboy sex factory, nor the continual efforts of its founder to bring her into his personal fold, no matter what she wanted." And obviously there was a lot of pressure for a lot of the Playmates to have a sexual relationship with Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
There was a
they
VH1
made a whole
show
reality
about it.
show
Yeah.
about it.
He had multiple favorites and girlfriends that lived in his house. And
But there was also just pressure
oh, yeah.
in order to
general.
like become Playmate of the Year or like,
Mhm.
you know, a centerfold in this month or whatever. You'd have to like have sex with Hugh.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no evidence that like this happened with Dorothy, but like I'm sure she experienced the pressure of it.
Right, right. Right.
Also, I once, while interning at the National Organization for Women, got to talk about that reality show with Gloria Steinem in a minivan.
Amazing.
It was
What a
kind
moment.
of the highlight of my life. It's fine.
What a weird moment.
It's a weird moment.
Is this why you love Dodge Grand Caravans?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Core memory.
Gloria loves a pilot seat.
So comfy.
So, journalist Teresa Carpenter wrote of the intersection of Hefner and Snyder's views on women in a 1980 Village Voice article titled Death of a Playmate that would win her a Pulitzer Prize. Quote, one of the tacit tenets of Playboy philosophy that women can be possessed had found a fervent adherent in Paul Snyder. He had bought the dream without qualification, and he thought of himself as perhaps one of Playboy's most honest apostles. He acted out of dark fantasies, never intended to be realized. Instead of fondling himself in private, instead of wreaking abstract violence upon a centerfold, he ravaged a playmate in the flesh.
Oh, God. Oh, that gave me chills.
Yes, gross.
She concluded the article with the grim takeaway that, quote, in the end, Dorothy Stratton was less memorable for herself than for the yearnings she evoked. In Snyder, a lust for the score. In Hefner, a longing for a star. In Bogdanovich, a desire for the eternal ingenue. She was a catalyst for a cycle of ambitions which revealed its players less wicked, perhaps, than pathetic. Okay. Get ready. You guys are going to be so grossed out.
Oh my God. There's more.
One more weird, gross twist in this case.
Oh, God. This is your calling card.
I know. 8 years after his girlfriend Dorothy's brutal murder, Peter Bogdanovich married Dorothy's younger sister, Louise.
No, he did
Ew.
fucking not. No, he did not.
Gross.
After the tragedy, Bogdanovich stayed in close contact with Dorothy's family, even going on family vacations with them over the years. Louise was just 12 years old when her older sister was murdered.
No.
And she was just 20, the same age that Dorothy was, when she married the 48-year-old Bogdanovich.
Honey,
I hate it.
you have so many other options.
They would eventually divorce in 2001, so they were married for a while when Louise aged out of the ingenue category at the wizened old age of 33.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
you're all
God.
used up at that point. I passed that threshold over a year ago.
Yep.
Over a year ago.
I'm an old shoe now.
It's
Hag.
just
Hag.
it's not quite as bad as Woody Allen,
It's pretty fucking gross.
but it's pretty close.
It's
I just-
gross.
Some
Anytime an adult knows a child from when they're an adolescent and then later marries them,
it's a little sus.
It's nasty.
the only time it's okay is in the novel Emma. I literally can't think of a
Can't with
different
you.
example.
Well, I feel like it would be different if, like, you met that child and they were a child and then you saw them again, like, 20 years
right,
later.
and then you
And
had
didn't
like
have an
no
existing
other
relationship.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
you
No other
watched them
interaction.
grow up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You're
gross.
They were part of the family, basically.
Yeah,
They're
that's
essentially
nasty.
in-laws.
They were like, they tried to say it was like they bonded over the grief of losing
Yeah, they
Dorothy.
trauma bonded.
But really, he just kind of like
Has a pattern.
replicate. He just was like, well, you're the closest thing I
Yeah,
can
he's
get.
replacing her
Yeah.
at the same age that she was when she was killed. Like,
Yeah.
it's really creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Not
Yeah.
cool,
you
man.
get older, but they stay the same age.
Ew.
All right.
Yeah. So that is my case. Just a lot of
Thank
really
you.
gross men.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Ugh.
Gross.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. I hate it.
Can we take a
Palate cleanser
mental
break.
health break
Yes.
/ ad break?
Yes. Please,
Okay.
God.
Great, because I got more horrible shit for you. All right, are you ready for my case?
I guess.
I mean, you're not.
I
but
don't
you
have
also,
a choice.
You also know it, so it's like this won't be new.
Oh, good.
We're just gonna go a little deeper.
Okay.
So I hate this case, as I texted the chat earlier. And I often approach things in life with empathy, but I really struggle to do that in cases like this, so bear with me.
Fair.
And you know what?
You're only human.
Let the rage flow through you. Like, what is a wine and crime episode without some deep rage?
Oh, no.
So let's dive in.
Okay.
Elliot Oliver Robertson Roger
Oh, no.
was
Why do I
born-
know that name?
Elliot
You
Roger.
You will know.
Oh,
Was born on
no.
July 24th, 1991 in London, England, but I'm not doing geography because he doesn't fucking deserve it. His parents moved with him to the United States when he was 5, and they settled down in Los Angeles, California. Though his parents eventually divorced, they did have another child before they split, so Elliot had a little sister. After the divorce, Elliot's father remarried, and Elliot did not get along with his new stepmother, and we'll kind of get to it. Elliot successfully graduated high school in 2011, despite struggling in high school and changing schools twice. He then enrolled in Los Angeles Pierce College, then transferred to Moore Park College, and then transferred again to Santa Barbara City College in Isla Vista, California.
Okay, bounced around a bit.
Yep. Elliot had a long history of struggling with his mental health. From the age of 8, he had been to several therapists, though as a child, he was not provided with an official diagnosis. As a young teen in 2007, he was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder, which is a fairly broad and generalized diagnosis on the autism spectrum. And he was also diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Though he was not diagnosed as a narcissist, his eventual manifesto would show that he most certainly was.
Yeah.
Being different certainly had its drawbacks. In grade school, he was bullied and fell deeply into World of Warcraft, was very isolated, and eventually went down an incel path where he made, quote, the one friend in the whole world who truly understood him. And she allegedly abruptly decided she didn't want to be friends with him anymore.
Probably because he did something really creepy and weird, and she was like, I have boundaries.
My next sentence.
Oh.
This is according to him, which begs the question of what may have happened between them that made her uncomfortable with the friendship. So he went deeper into his online life, blogging and vlogging about his struggles, openly rejecting taking the medications he was prescribed. And when he turned 18, he stopped attending therapy altogether and went off all of his meds. He started exhibiting violence against young women and couples, once throwing a cup of hot coffee at a young couple being like moderately affectionate in public, like holding hands.
Oh,
Oh my God.
And also splashing hot coffee in the faces of young women on campus who, quote, wouldn't smile at him.
Oh my God. There's
Son of a
something
bitch.
like particularly creepy about serial killers and killers who target couples. I don't know what it is.
The jealousy. It's all just really gross.
It's just really weird.
It's all incel shit. It
Yeah.
fucking freaks me out.
Also, like when you're with your partner and, you know, that's like you're safe.
You feel, yeah, exactly. It's like as a woman, like you feel safer with a partner around, and they fucking ruin that too. Ugh.
Yeah. In 2013, he tried to push 2 girls over a 10-foot ledge. Like it might have been like a building balcony at a college party. So not like super high, but high enough
They could
to
get
harm
hurt.
someone. Yeah.
Still violent.
Yeah. He did not succeed, and he got his ass kicked for that. I think they ended up, like, a bunch of dudes intervened, and then they ended up, like, tossing him over the ledge, and he, like, twisted his ankle or some shit.
Yeah, dose of his own fucking medicine.
Right. For which he vowed to kill the guys responsible for beating him up. This, in his mind, was the straw that broke the camel's back. Despite multiple reports to police regarding his behavior, the police determined he did not meet the criteria for an involuntary mental health hold or assessment.
God damn it.
Elliot got to work on a 107,000-word manifesto that he titled, quote, My Twisted World, the Story of Elliot Roger.
Ugh.
Oh my God. The fact that he gave it a title.
Oh, he gave everything a title. And sent it out to 34
first
people.
person title.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
A title with a colon and a first person reference.
This was like how he titled his fucking YouTube videos, his blog posts. Like, it's so fucking grandiose and over the top. It's so fucking stupid. He sent this manifesto out to 34 people, as well as presenting parts of it on his YouTube channel, which we'll get to. He sent the manifesto to family, friends, teachers, really anyone he felt like somewhat connected to or even scorned by.
His dentist.
Probably. He labeled his final YouTube video, quote, Elliot Rogers Retribution, and went on about being rejected by women, being jealous of men who were having sex with women, and explained why he was planning to attack the public. In this video, he says, quote, tomorrow is the day of retribution, the day in which I will have my revenge against humanity, against all of you. For the last 8 years of my life, ever since I hit puberty, I've been forced to endure an existence of loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, all because girls have never been attracted to me.
Yeah, through no fault of my own, all I did was try to push them over a ledge and throw hot coffee on them and tell them to smile.
I'm a good guy. Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me.
It's all transactional.
I'm 22 years old and I'm still a virgin. I've never even kissed a girl. I've been through college for 2.5 years, more than that actually, and I'm still a virgin. It's been very torturous. College is the time when everyone experiences those things such as sex and fun and pleasure. Within those years, I've had to rot in loneliness. It's not fair. You girls have never been attracted to me. I don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy, and yet you throw yourselves at these obnoxious men instead of me, the supreme gentleman.
Oh
End
my
quote.
God.
I just splash hot coffee in your face at random and push you over a fucking balcony, but I'm the supreme gentleman.
The supreme gentleman.
Yup.
God damn it.
Yeah, the internalized white supremacy is really wild, and we're going to get to it right now. So, despite being of Malaysian Chinese descent on his mother's side, so his father was white, his mother was Asian, he was deep into white supremacist ideology. He really rejected his Asian heritage and felt like it contributed to why he wasn't attractive, specifically to white women.
Oh, God.
And he engaged in violent anti-Black, anti-Asian, and anti-Hispanic, like very specifically ideation. There are quotes to this effect from him, but I'm not going to read them because listeners of color don't need to hear more of that bullshit.
Yeah, fuck him.
It doesn't need to be said. This is just part of...
We get the picture.
Exactly. This is just part of the problem.
He's delusional and racist.
Yep. So he revered his white heritage, writing about how he is a descendant of British aristocracy.
Fucking who isn't?
Well, yeah. And like he was born in London. His dad was British. So like maybe he had a closer connection, I guess. But like who fucking cares?
Doesn't matter.
Like fuck you. So in this last video, the retribution video, he declared that, quote, on the day before the day of retribution, I will start the first phase of my vengeance, silently killing as many people as I can around Isla Vista by luring them into my apartment through some form of trickery. The second phase of his plan would be a, quote, war on women. He said the second phase...
Run for office.
I know, right? The second phase will take place on the day of retribution itself, just before the climactic massacre, my war on women. I will attack the very girls who represent everything I hate in the female gender, the hottest sorority of UCSB, so University of California, Santa Barbara. Roger stated in his manifesto that in his ideal world, he would, quote, quarantine all women in concentration camps. So he's also fucking anti-Semitic.
Jesus.
At these camps, the vast majority of the female population will be deliberately starved to death. That would be an efficient and fitting way to kill them all off. I would have an enormous tower built just for myself. Like the narcissism is completely out of control.
Yeah, this is insane.
Mm-hmm. And gleefully watch them all die.
I am speechless.
Mm-hmm. It's really fucking bad.
I remember reading this shit when all this happened.
I
It's
didn't.
disgusting. You were not in the country.
There we go. Okay. Like, obviously, I've heard of him. I still can't, like, fully place what
when
his...
you can
You'll
look at a
see
picture of
his-
him on the drive.
You'll
It's like
recognize him.
it's like the most famously shared picture of him.
Right.
That selfie of him in the seat of his car, which may have even been taken like the day he went out.
I
and
think
did
it
this.
was.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was the same car that he used.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the grandiosity and
He's
the
sick.
rage. And this is what 4chan and 8chan
we'll get
is
to it.
filled with.
Yep.
This shit.
We will get to it.
God.
He also dreamed of, quote, a pure world where the man's mind can develop to greater heights than ever before. Future generations will live their lives free of having to worry about the barbarity of sex and women, which will enable them to expand their intelligence and advance the human race to a state of perfect civilization.
So he wanted
genocide.
He wanted to kill all women so that he could be free of the desire for sex and women.
And
so that
Don't
he
try to
could-
make sense of this.
No, I mean, but that's part of his delusion. And he wanted to essentially wipe out people of color.
Right.
Yeah. He said that he planned to kill his half-brother and stepmother, but was not mentally prepared to kill his father. And his half-brother and stepmother are both people of color.
Okay. Didn't mention his own mom.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, she's also a person of color, but he didn't mention her. But he had a tumultuous relationship with his stepmother,
Right.
probably out of,
Well, his mother was probably out of the picture, like somewhere else, and these people he was still living with.
That is not the case. He was living on his own.
Oh, okay.
And his mother and father and stepmother still all lived in California in a not super far away area.
Got it. Okay.
He just didn't get to that one. Or maybe she just
Right.
falls under all the women in the concentration camp.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think he just so specifically hated his stepmother, likely for replacing his mother, even though it's like, your dad got divorced.
Right.
Like, that's not all on your mom. And so I think he just had a specific disdain for her and then the child that this woman and his dad had together after the fact. So he started planning this 2 years in advance, going to the gun range to practice shooting and acquiring firearms in 2012 and 2013. Now, this video where he comes out and talks about his plan and the manifesto were not public until the day this happened.
Anyone who goes to a shooting range should be asked a series of questions, and they should all be trick questions. And one of them should be, can you please upload your manifesto? And then if you upload anything, you're disqualified from going to the shooting range.
I like that. I like that plan. He first purchased a Glock 34 pistol, then 2 additional pistols, all obtained legally in California. Then on May 23rd, he carried out his promised day of retribution. So it was May 23rd, I think 2014. He executed the first phase of his attack as promised and lured 3 men to his apartment where he stabbed them to death. 2 of these men were his roommates, and the third was a classmate who may have also lived in the building. He then went to a local coffee shop to get himself a coffee around 8:30 p.m.
It's not that hard to lure your roommates into your apartment.
No, I know. It's like he said he was going to lure people.
He just killed the
He killed his roommates
people
and a
who
third
were all
person
in
that he lured in.
proximity.
Yeah. So it was at the coffee shop that he uploaded his final YouTube video that I've been quoting and sent out his manifesto via email to the 34 recipients. A copy of the manifesto went to his former therapist, who immediately called his mother, and his mother then called his father. They then left their homes separately to make their way to his location and called Isla Vista police on the way to their son.
Good.
The therapist should have called the police in the first place, I feel.
I mean, someone called the police right away. So long and short of it, that's important.
I feel like, those people did what they
the cops
could
didn't
do at the time.
Fuck all to prevent this from happening.
Right.
But even after multiple reports about his behavior, and even on the day where they could have truly prevented crime.
Right.
But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. Meanwhile, Elliot made his way to the Alpha Phi sorority on the UC Santa Barbara campus and knocked on the door, gun in hand. As he waited for an answer, he opened fire on co-eds passing by just out on a beautiful evening in May in California.
Nice.
One was a young couple, one a young woman out riding her bike, and several pedestrians. He then got in his vehicle and drove around shooting at random women on the street. Eventually, he was approached by police, who he shot at as well. They were chasing him in a car, and he shot at them.
So just totally opportunistic, random.
I mean, less random. He was targeting.
He targeted
co-eds.
the sorority, yeah.
Yep, and the sorority. But yes, very opportunistic. He continued to drive around the neighborhood targeting young co-eds, the co-eds he was targeting at random. folks out on their skateboards, folks out biking, folks out walking around, coming in and out of shops and restaurants, like people, it was just absolute chaos. He was eventually hit by one of the shots fired by police, which then resulted in him targeting victims with his car. He hit at least one cyclist before crashing his vehicle. It was then that he took his final shot to his own head. Police found him in his car, deceased, with his 3 guns, several knives, 6 empty 10-round magazines indicating he had fired at least 60 shots, and an additional 580 rounds of ammunition that were not used.
Jesus Christ.
So he was like,
He was
stocked
armed
up.
to the teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, it is bad. So 6 UC Santa Barbara students were killed in the attack. 19-year-old George Chen, 20-year-old Chen Win Hong, 20-year-old Wei-Han Wang. They were all killed in the apartment stabbings, and it's like significant that they are
all
Asian men.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Yep.
he was targeting himself without
Correct.
consciously realizing that.
The part of himself that he hated. And I
Right.
think he did consciously know that because a lot of his online presence, which I didn't read because I don't want to read his racist bullshit, talks a lot about his issues with being half Asian.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Ugh.
Yep. So that is just pure fucking unbridled racism.
Self-loathing.
Yep. 22-year-old Catherine Cooper, 20-year-old Christopher Michaels Martinez, and 19-year-old Veronica Weiss were all killed by gunfire. The fact that only 6 people died, which is way too many fucking people, but considering the scope of this rampage that he
Right.
went on, it's kind of a miracle. Like, I can't fucking believe it.
And
Were
that
a
he'd
lot of other people
prepared-
injured?
He'd
Yeah,
prepared
14 others were injured.
Jesus.
Mhm.
that he'd prepared for it for like, what'd you say, like 2 years or
Years.
something?
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, it's so sick. It's so fucking sick. So 14 others were injured in the attack, but thankfully survived. One of the survivors, a young student named Bianca, remembers Elliot smiling at her before opening fire, which is one of the most fucking horrific things ever. So in the aftermath of the attacks, calls for gun control mounted and were so obviously successful.
Totally, I'm sure.
His internet search history revealed hours and hours spent on a side of the internet coined the manosphere-ish, specifically on forums like Forever Alone and PUA Hate, which is Pickup Artist.
Oh my God. Can you imagine a more toxic?
Incel. Yeah,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Forever alone. God.
it's so gross. So
It's
this is a quote.
it's exactly like the guy in Buffalo from last week. Oh my God.
Yep.
God damn it.
So this is from Wikipedia, quote, "The manosphere is a collection of websites, blogs, and online forums promoting to varying degrees masculinity, misogyny, and strong opposition to feminism. Communities within the manosphere include men's rights activists, incels, and men going their own way, the MGTOW.
I don't even want to know.
I know. Pickup artists, PUA, and fathers' rights groups. The manosphere overlaps with the far-right and alt-right communities, you don't say.
I think that men going their own way, only because I watched that Red Pill documentary, which is so gross also. I think it's like they're completely cutting women out of their lives. Like they do not associate with women.
At all.
They
Which, like,
just-
because
Because they can't get sex from them.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need you. It has also been associated with online harassment and has been implicated in radicalizing men into misogynist beliefs and the glorification of violence against women. Some sources have associated manosphere-based radicalization with mass shootings motivated by misogyny. End quote. And that overview also completely disregards like racism and anti-Semitism, which are also highly prolific in these groups. So this is just a side of the internet I never want to fucking stumble on, but it's just so scary how many of these communities exist.
And they're
And how
growing. And they're becoming
growing.
more normalized.
Right.
By
this
politicians.
is very prolific. Yeah. This is very prolific, this ideation, and it's all built
And
on a
like Joe
foundation.
Rogan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all built on a foundation of white supremacy, anti-Semitism, xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, hatred of women, like all of the things. And it's so easy for folks on the political right to stumble upon these communities because of like it's intentional to have some of these more benign, like shared, pretty common conservative beliefs.
It's a slippery slope.
Right. So this shared rhetoric like lures people in who already lean to the right, and then they're welcomed with open arms and just completely
it's all
bombarded.
Just like a patriarchal spectrum that starts with like daddy-daughter dances.
Yeah. Coming out parties. It's so fucked up. And like, let this serve as the reminder that white people wrangling and checking our own and our racist family members and like the right-wing uncle we hate is literally a matter of life and death for people of color and for women, with the threat of violence infinitely higher when the intersectionalities of race, gender, and sexuality are present.
I saw a TikTok where a woman was like, I am just sick of wasting my time on dating apps. And so now I ask everyone, like, what's your most controversial opinion? And then she just like
waits.
She just uploads all of these. And there's so much just disgusting opinions out there. And
It
she
is
just
a cesspool.
weeds them out.
I don't care if Bill and I end up hating each other. I'm not going back out there. I won't do it. I refuse. So in one post on such a forum, Elliot Rogers bragged about getting his first gun and wrote, quote, "I felt a new sense of power. I was now armed. Who's the alpha male now, bitches? I thought to myself, regarding all of the girls who've looked down on me in the past.
I have a hang up about my own dick and about not getting sex. And so I'm going to buy a robot dick in the form of a gun.
And kill everyone with it.
Uh-huh.
This story also sparked plenty of bullshit online with the hashtag, quote, "not all men," trending on Twitter in response to the outcry against misogyny and racism. And if you have to say not all men, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
If it
Hashtag,
don't apply,
but
let it fly.
enough of them.
Right. Incel communities heralded Elliot Rodger as their saint, and he was glorified in memes with like his face pasted over religious figures. And to this day, incel forums will discuss mass violence as going ER, going Elliot Rodgers. And other mass murderers in this movement have referenced Elliot in their manifestos. So now he's like gone down in incel history as like a leader and a saint of the movement. So that's my case.
I hated it.
Yep. So did I.
I thought I was going to like this episode.
I liked your
Listen.
segment.
Thanks.
We
Where we diagnosed Amanda.
crushed it. We all learned valuable things about ourselves today.
God, it's so scary, and our society is so broken, and there are so many of these people. It's really fucking scary.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst.
So
Anyway,
Get
come to our live
therapy.
shows.
Come to our live shows and vote.
No incels allowed.
Please vote.
Yeah,
Okay.
come join us.
All right. I don't know. Fucking, I gotta go lie down.
I'm sad now. We'll see you
I know.
next week, maybe, if I still want to do this job.
Still want to work here anymore. You know what? Fuck it. We had a good run. We quit. Thanks for listening.
All right. We love you.
Bye.
If you're a fan of true crime, you've probably heard your favorite podcast discuss the link between lead poisoning and higher crime rates. And possibly even heard podcasters theorize about the link between serial killers and lead poisoning.
When these topics are discussed, though, it often sounds as though our exposure to lead went away when lead paint and leaded gasoline were banned.
But have you heard that exposure to lead in the United States is on the rise? Or that the nearly 90% of the 10 billion bullets sold every year in the United States contain lead? And that minimizing the effects of lead exposure from lead ammunition is part of a widespread misinformation campaign?
Where have I heard about misinformation campaigns before?
Totes Darvo tactics.
The effects of lead exposure are everywhere, but often not seen or heard about.
Join us on our journey learning more about lead every Wednesday by listening to United States of Lead. Available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms.
Let's talk about lead.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Kala Yip, music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell, editing by Jonathan Camp. Check out our website and blog at wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wine and Crime Pod. If you have questions, answers, or recommendations to share, email us at wineandcrimepodcast@gmail.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, basically wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And if you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to spread the word. If you'd like to show your support, visit our Patreon page to keep this podcast and the wine flowing. Cheers!